From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Jeff Dunham. With Gina Gratt on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and Dave Damashek's here for good sports. And now, earlier today, he saw Ford versus Ferrari, and his dad saw VW Squareback versus Honda CR-V. Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to go. Any mandate, you get it on now. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for telling a friend. I love that you share it. Just saw the ratings went up, so thank you very much. Good day, Gina Gratt.
Good day to you.
And Bald Brian.
Hey now.
Yeah. All right. Just walked out of the Ford v Ferrari. Where's my print? I got a ton of papers in here, Max Pat. I don't know. Where's my Ford v Ferrari IMDb page, and is it amongst the piles of papers that I have in here?
He's running it in.
Okay. All right. The reason I call before I come in, usually.
It will be amongst the piles of paper.
Yes. All right, but that's why I hang up the phone and then I call Chris and I go, hey, man, I'm going to be there in half an hour. I need, and then I tell him what I need.
You'll have it eventually.
I assume it's in front of me. What's up there, Max Banna? Sorry. Okay. All right.
You
so
suck.
I just saw the movie.
So up to snuff? You feel good? Was it
Yeah, I loved it. Couple thoughts. It was really, it's the Ken Miles story, but the movie's about Ken Miles, but the whole thing is really the Carroll Shelby story. It's Shelby, what he was able to do, all the suits at Ford, and all that. Matt Damon was great, and Christian Bale's he's just Christian Bale. He has an advantage over other actors. His accent and the way he moves his face, he's just so there.
striking?
John Barenthal was great as Lee Iacocca, who just passed away. Josh Lucas was great as Leo Beebe, who was sort of one of the guys in charge of Ford. There were a couple of guys. Tracy Letts, who played Henry Ford II, that guy, I think, is going to get a Best Supporting nod.
Wow. Look him up.
He was excellent as Henry Ford II. Like, he had a lot of range. And then, of course, I saw my buddy Chris Darga as John Holman of Holman and Moody, who was like another team. So it was weird to see some guy I used to do carpentry with 30 years ago popping up. And I was trying to figure out where Tracy Letts, where we knew he's a 60-year-old guy. He's had to have bounced around. He's playing Henry Ford II, a huge movie. Gotta know the guy from something.
He was in The Big Short, and he was in The Post.
Well,
I don't
Adam,
really remember him.
You'd know him best from Lady Bird.
He's opposing. Oh, the movie. Oh, I thought it was Lady Birds. Or wait a minute, Lady Bugs.
Oh,
that was a soccer movie. Lady Bird. Yeah,
he was in Straight Talk.
What? Wait, now we're talking.
With Dolly Parton.
Well, who was he in Straight Talk? I've seen the movie 1,000 times.
It was Sean.
He was my most favorite and least favorite part of every 80s, 90s movie where the janitor was starting their first day on the job, and then the program director grabbed him and went, "You're late. You've got a syndicated audience waiting for you." But I don't understand. And then they push him in, and he gets behind the microphone, but somehow his homespun, down to earth, folksy sense takes over the nation. Whenever they then have the montage of people listening.
Or the phone ringing off the hook. You love the show?
Right.
You can't get it up?
Well, that's part of the same montage.
Yeah.
And then there's like black guy shucking and jiving down the street. He's listening to two people sitting at a bus stop.
It crosses
with
racial
their transistor
barriers.
radio.
Both tuned in.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. I do syndicated radio for 10 years. My dad doesn't know what the call letters are for the station he lives in. Forget about phones ringing off the hook and people walking down the street. Yeah, they have that montage where it just blows up. And then at some point, there's a billboard on the bus.
That's right.
She sees herself go by.
Yeah, she sees it.
And then she says, "Get off the cross, honey. Somebody needs the wood."
Anyway, Ford v Ferrari is great. I really enjoyed it. And Christian, look, it's Christian Bale and Matt Damon the entire time. They're both going to get probably Oscar nods,
Now,
I would think.
accuracy, even down to the minute details, because you would know the minute details.
Well, it is weird when they're talking about Leo Beebe and stuff like that. And you make a doc, those guys, I can hear Shelby being interviewed going, well, Leo Beebe said we better win on Friday, and like that's the guy who's running head of sales or something for Ford. There's always tons of material you have to get past that you never include. There's also a weird thing, which is in the documentary we made called The 24-Hour War, Ford versus Ferrari. One of the guys we interviewed was Charlie Akapu, who was Ken Miles' basic. Charlie Akapu must be New Zealand. I don't know if he was from New Zealand, Australian. He was Ken's kind of right-hand man, young kid who was there, getting him in and out of the car, cleaning the windshield, just his looked up to Ken. Ken was not a young guy. Everyone, Ken was like 45. Everyone else was 21. So Charlie Akapu was there. Charlie Akapu, when we interviewed him for Ford v. Ferrari, when he was talking about Ken Miles dying during testing, he was tearing up, obviously. It was very emotional. But I was sitting directly behind Charlie Akapu in the movie theater, seeing the 19-year-old version of him at Le Mans, like pushing people and getting the fuel lines and going, get out of here, Ken. And like it's crazy seeing the guy portrayed in the 60s. I mean, obviously, he's not an old man now. So if you're in Le Mans, the late 60s, you're kids.
Teens.
Kids used to do stuff, everybody. I got news for the 33-year-old kids that are walking around right now. 19-year-old, they were tank commanders and stuff. They
went
won
to war.
races. They did dangerous shit.
Yeah.
Like, they went to work. So it was a very interesting story. And the whole part they painted about, this stuff's all in the news, but Ferrari being who he was, and sort of Ken Miles not being a corporate guy, and Ford really not wanting him, because there was a lot of optics and they wanted to sell cars. Like, that's all Ford wanted to do. But anyway, it's really well shot. Mangold knows what he's doing when it comes to filming. So all the shots were amazing, and then there's the whole part. The part that put me off a little is that his wife and kids were into what he was doing. It bumped me.
It bumped you.
A little
Suspension of disbelief, dude.
bit. They were cheering him
You got to
on
allow
at
the movie's
racetrack.
premise.
It's fiction sometimes.
It was also neat for me because, obviously when they start talking about all these, that's Dan Gurney and Bondurant and blah, blah, blah. Those are all guys I've interviewed, guys I've sat down with and talked to at length. And then there were guys like...
Did you know who played Dan Gurney, by the way?
Oh, his son.
Alex Gurney.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Then there were guys like Phil Remington who were like all over it, who was like super magician mechanic. And, I remember going to Dan Gurney's shop and he's like, that's Phil's workbench. That's where Phil had recently passed, but he was still working when he was 90. It was like all these people that between doing the Ford versus Ferrari doc, 24-Hour War, and then doing the Shelby doc, it's all one big galaxy of all the same people. And then you really pile on because they're down at Willow Springs and Bondurant's driving a Corvette. It's like, I drove a Corvette at Willow Springs, and they're going around Willow Springs, and I'm looking at every corner with Christian Bale driving, but I'm seeing, I drove
POV.
100 laps on that track in a sanctioned Trans Am race. So I'm like watching the race, and
This had to be hard for you to sit back and just watch this movie.
it was a little
Too much
distracting,
going
like
on.
seeing all these people in all these places. But Willow Springs hasn't changed at all. It's just a track in the middle of the desert. But anyway, he goes out in his Cobra and wins this Willow Springs race. But they're just literally going around every corner as I'm seeing it in my mind's eye from driving around so many laps at that place. Josh Lucas was good,
I
but
love Josh Lucas.
He's good.
He's one of those character actors you absolutely 100% know. Put up a picture of him. You would know him best from maybe from Beautiful Mind. That's the rival student.
Oh.
He's been in 100 movies in the last decade.
oh yeah,
He's a very recognizable character
yeah.
actor, and he's really, really good.
yeah, and he was kind of a wiener in this, which you don't
He can
see
be
him.
he can be smarmy, like in A Beautiful Mind. It's kind of like adversarial. He's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, he was great. So anyway, and it's all about the relationships and everything else. But very, very, very well done. Very good. So look forward to that. And I just saw the first commercial for it playing on the NFL Sunday. So
Nice.
it's now officially on.
Aren't you doing a Q&A? When is that? That wasn't today, right?
No, I'm going to sit down with Christian Bale and Matt Damon in about 5 weeks or something like that.
He meant we. He meant we.
And do
Yeah. The Adam Carolla Show.
Right.
and sit down. Well, first off, I'm so glad I love this movie because otherwise it kind of
You have to
sucks.
do a little tiptoeing otherwise.
Yeah, and we know so much about it, and then also we got to figure out It's insane because now we have this Shelby doc. And you have Matt Damon, who's just Shelby on top of Shelby with more Shelby. I mean, it's all about Carroll Shelby. And if you watch this movie, you'll go, I would love to know more about that dude. Because it's an insane life that guy had.
This will
and
be a
now
big hit, I'm sure.
Yes.
There'll be a halo effect with your documentary and other associated things.
Let's hope, although nothing ever works out.
How was the female lead, his wife? Because I'm looking at her IMDb and she only has 14 credits. A lot of them are shorts.
Is she a model?
She's a relative unknown. She's a TV actress.
What's her name?
Catriona Balfe?
Yeah.
I honestly have never heard of her. I'm wondering if I admire a film of this scale casting a relative unknown, or at least a lesser known actor in such a prominent role.
Yeah, well, again, it bumped me once again when Ken Miles was working a late night shift wrenching at Shelby America, and she came down with a picnic basket. And
when she showed interest.
handed him a cold beer.
I'll get
I was
out of
like,
your hair.
Get the fuck out of here. No way. Give me a break. I believe
Fake.
that. Fake. Yes.
Boo.
Yeah, I've seen movies with dragons in them that I buy into more than this charade.
And the doting wife who lets him wrench on his car.
And then comes down and brings him a basket of food.
I sensed you were hungry.
She was very believable, very good.
I think she's in Super 8, but I don't remember.
Pretty low key, but a very big part. Of course, you have to get the kid and the wife in. Now, the story, I don't want to say the star, the cars are the stars of the film. I like that.
Oh, the kids from A Quiet
My
Place.
greatest role? Father. Rich Whitey who ignores his kids.
Sorry, just FYI, I think my instincts were right because that's what comes up when you Google her, and it's clearly like Fashion Week and she's walking.
I will say this.
Meow.
Sorry, I will say
No,
this.
that's
Meow.
if you hadn't
Claws
heard
her
of,
out, boy.
no, if you hadn't heard of her, that was my
I don't know what
instinct.
picture. I don't know what year that's from, but it looks like she's 22 there. In the movie, she's playing 30, 39, or 37. But here's the thing about the hot chicks: you can go down, you just can't go up. You know what I'm saying? Like when a chick is a 9, Charlize Theron, we can knock her down to a 4.5. We can do whatever.
Margot Robbie can play Tanya Harding.
Yeah, we can knock anyone down. We just can't punch you up, Jan.
No.
I mean, whoever.
thanks.
We just can't. All the king's horses and all. We can't knock you up. We can go
Already
down.
at the ceiling.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't there's a I don't know. Tori Spellings. All right, she's attractive, I guess, or something. And I'm not my cup of tea, but let's just say she's a 7 or something after some work. We can't bump her to a 9. We can't. We can get her down. We can get all the Margot Robbies down way lower than that. We just can't go up.
Yeah, you're right.
Sad, right?
Tough reality.
It's tough. So she was, I'm sure, a model, but now they cut your hair short. You add 10 years, and you know,
Eileen Warnock.
and you're fine, right? So. The real story is the story that they're pushing is really the son and the relationship that Ken Miles has with his young boy. That's kind of the story.
That's how the trailer opens.
Which is crazy because Ken Miles' young boy is 6'3" and he's probably 61 or
Oh, my.
something. And
I'm in the movie. I'm like, that's a real bump.
Bad
Pituitary
casting.
problem.
Yeah, and he is a dude, and he works on cars, and he's when I was at Laguna Seca 6 weeks ago, he's working on the cars
Wow.
at the tent right next to ours. Nice guy, looks like him, just working on. I told you we went there with Max Zapata a year and a half ago. We went and saw Chip Connor's collection with GTOs and 935s and stuff like that. He's his mechanic. He's at the track. He's working on the 935s. So in those stories, when they say to Ken Miles, Peter Miles, the son, there is a thing that I find that when I say to someone, I do podcasting, they go, well, good for you. And if you go, I do stand-up, they go, that's nice. And then I go, I write books and I make documentaries. And they go, fantastic. And then if I go, but I also race vintage cars, they go, was your dad into cars? Mm-hmm. And I go, no. They're, but so your dad, but he took you to the track, right? Like what was he, a rancher himself? Like he had cars. And I go,
uncle?
No. They never go, your dad's an author. They never know your dad's a documentarian, or even your dad's like a school teacher or filmmaker or something. Or your dad, did he have a sense of humor? There's no secondary dad questions, but if you say anything with cars, you say you collect cars, you say you race cars, you drive cars, you have cars, you wrench on cars, you're like, who got you into that? Your dad. And they just...
Guilty.
And now it doesn't, it kind of works that way with building. People assume your dad was a builder if you build. And if you wrench, your dad used to hand him tools and wrenches in the garage while he was under the car and all that stuff. Doesn't work. I don't think attorneys or architects or school teachers, there's something about cars where there is a straight line. Yeah. And there we were at Laguna Seca 6 weeks ago, Peter Miles, 30 feet away from Adam Carolla. No starker contrast in dad car involvement than that. And at least I know him there for the right reasons, Peter.
You earned it. It's pure.
No pedigree.
Because his dad had a shop. Yeah. His dad was a wrencher.
Peter Miles had no choice.
He had no choice. And I think he obviously grew to, he loved it as a kid. I think all kids, all young boys, except for Sonny Carolla, all young boys at age 9 through 13 would love cars. They don't get exposed to it. They don't have money. They live in apartments. They live in blah, blah, blah. And that's just I don't know.
That's a waste of my time?
The ship sails or something like that. I don't know. It doesn't seem to work that way with accounting or many other jobs, sales.
What percentage of guys who are really into cars do you think were at least influenced by their dad's love of cars? I would have to imagine it's well over 50%.
I don't want to say every because I hate that, but very often at the track, guys come around the pits. Max Paddle back me up. They come with their dads a lot of the time. Like they're 75-year-old dads. They bring their dads. Or they're 75 and they explain, my dad worked for Hal Needham back in 1969. And he worked for Joey Chitwood's stunt team. And he used to bring me. Yeah, they all have a story and they all dig out old pictures of the, the dad and the black and white. And then they send them to you and they bring them by the pit and everything. Yeah, it is sad. So, there is that, and yes, Peter, the story is very much about the son and very much about Christian Bale and his son, who is played by Noah.
The kid from A Quiet Place. He was really good.
He didn't say much, but he was good.
Noah Jupe, yeah, he's great, and that's the human story, is him and his son was there when he died, and all crazy, everything else, but. So that's a really good story, and it is great that Peter Miles is, as we speak, working on a car. I don't know how old is he, in his early 60s?
Yeah, I actually is not on the internet. I emailed one of Chip's guys to see if he can get some more intel on this.
Yeah. Tall, angular, looks like Ken Miles, works on cars.
We should repackage or rebrand the doc as Ford v Ferrari prep kit for the movie.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
What
know.
you really need to
do.
Somebody tell me, but I'm watching NFL Sunday and I'm seeing commercials now, and that's 2 months out, and that means it's on.
It's on.
And they're starting early, too. I mean, running NFL spots 2 months out. They're going to be going for some Oscar this and Oscar that. So, with all that in mind, as the guys who own the Shelby dock, it'd be nice if we could figure something out. I don't know how.
You probably already thought of this, but I always notice whenever I noticed it for the first time, maybe really distinctly when the Da Vinci Code came out. That was a huge movie. It was based on a huge rollout, right? It was based on the book, Tom Hanks, Ron Howard, blah, blah, blah. Every fucking fifth show on my guide on DirecTV was like the Bible code, the something code, the Egyptian code, the pyramids code. They were all just trying to get that little bit of interest. Like, there's got to be a broadcast network that'd be interested in the 24-hour war, right? With the Ford versus Ferrari.
I don't know. It's been a tough slog in the doc department, and I don't know who wouldn't be into that, but I will say this. The things that make sense to you do not necessarily make sense to the folks at the History Channel or Netflix or whoever else. I'm always like, whenever I hear it's like, they passed. It's like, what would they... Why would they pass? But there's going to be a $50 million campaign on a movie that everyone's going to want to see the real version of as soon as they see the movie. That's the way you do it. You go see these movies, and then you want to find out what the real story was. Where'd the pass part come in? Like, but it happens a lot. Peter is 67 years of age, and he was 14 when Ken died in 1966. Anyway, very good movie, very well done. And
what's the runtime, and did you think the runtime was appropriate? Too short, too long, just right?
It was, I checked, it started pretty much dead nuts at 10:30, 10:35, pretty much right when my Fanny hit the seat, and it finished right at 1 o'clock. So it
2.5 hours.
Meaty.
It's there, but there's a lot of ground to cover, and
cover 24-hour race in real time.
And it's good. I didn't find myself, but then again, I kept wondering. It's like, is it because I know everybody in this and I know all the story? And there's still a couple little bits and pieces that I wasn't aware of or didn't know, but it's a lot. Also, much like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Venice, California, L.A. in the 60s, you can't go wrong. Just all the buildings and the markets and the dress and the music coming out of the cars and the lifestyle and just the whole vibe. Even Ford in the 60s. Like, everyone's smoking, sitting around big mahogany tables and stuff. All right, so I will tell you about some other things in a second. More on another movie front, the Uppity, the Willie T. Ribbs and John Singleton. I have some thoughts, and some info on that. First, I'll tell you about Zorro, Zoro.com. Find everything for business of any size and almost any industry. Tools and equipment, safety, office, cleaning supplies, cleanser. I need cleanser, Matt. And more than that, tons of stuff. Electrical stuff, plumbing stuff, contracting stuff, manufacturing, tools. Everything you need when you're running a business, from the stuff that keeps it up and running to the stuff that fixes it. Brands you know and trust, like Stanley and 3M and Milwaukee and Rubbermaid and all the big ones, all there. Amazon, every time. Amazing customer service. Screw Amazon. Amazing customer service from real people based in the U.S. Fast, free shipping on orders of $50 and more. Visit Zorro.com/Adam. Sign up for the Z-Mail. Get 15% off your first order. They have everything, even if it's just for your garage, even if you don't have a business. That's Zoro.com/Adam. All right.
Uppity gossip.
Yeah, I got on a phone call with Brian Koppelman of Billions and his partner today, because we're in this weird world where They want to bring Uppity to Showtime. They have a big deal. They want it to be their next project, blah, blah, blah.
Sweet.
We're profoundly flattered. And then, of course...
They asked you to go pitch. You said no way.
I don't pitch anymore.
Well, they got the doc and they got them. So they don't... David Levin or Levine, I think is his writing partner. Anyway, they're great writers. And... So we're off to the races, and John Singleton dies.
Yeah.
And I'm having meetings with John Singleton. I'm flying Willie T out to meet with John Singleton. This is how life and this business works. Like 1 minute you're getting pictures of John Singleton having a beer with Willie T with thumbs up. The next minute it's like, did you hear John Singleton's dead? So everything gets put on. It's like a sucker punch to those guys because they were very friendly with John Singleton. I met him once. He was a great guy, but I didn't have a relationship with him. So everything gets kind of put on the back burner. And today we just got on the phone to kind of discuss what the next move was. And we need to find the African-American writer to take this story and shepherd it. And the good news is Chris Morgan gave me a list. He's like, here's a list of 5 black writers that I think would be perfect for this. They all have 5 projects going simultaneously because
They're
contrary to popular belief, we always think like, oh, the minorities are getting pushed out. Oh, no. This is Hollywood. We're not making films in Alabama in 1967. It's 2000 and almost 20. We're in Hollywood. People are woke as shit, and all they're looking for is diversity. That's all. And by the way, the Netflix, the new players are the wokest of the woke. So if you're good, or probably even just decent, and you're black, you are busy in this town, and you have many projects. So now we have to figure out somebody who is not who fills all the criteria but doesn't have five projects on the table. And you're in demand. I mean, there's no two ways about it.
But this project is not stalled out. This project is back up and running.
No, it's back. It's not stalled out. We just have to.
It's coasting.
We have to find the right person with the right voice to convey Willie's voice is what's going on. But I'll keep you guys posted. I'm just telling you what I know. But my God, people, if you do not think this is a marathon and not a sprint, I mean, I don't know what I'm not the I hate the guys that say like second place is first loser. Like I hate those guys. I hate you're either moving forward or you're moving back. I'm like sometimes you're just kind of treading water. I've had a few weeks where I just kind of stayed where I was.
Just float.
I didn't lose weight. I didn't gain weight. I didn't get any smarter. I didn't get any dumber. I didn't make a bunch of money. I didn't lose a bunch. I've had a lot of in the middle. But I'm telling you, I keep saying to everyone, it is a marathon. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And if you need instant gratification, you can't find it in this business. Right. I mean, we started making this thing 3 years ago, maybe more. We've been done for like 2 years. It's still just sitting somewhere. I've already paid for everything, God damn it.
And within that marathon, there's moments where it's like, oh, this has to be done today. This has to be done by the end of the day. This has to be done the next hour. You know what I mean? It's like wait.
Guess
hurry up.
What?
Right.
You have time.
Yes.
It's fun. Oh, can I just say real quick on that note? I'm dipping my toe into this world. We're making the documentary about this whole process, the fundraiser, the 10-year anniversary.
If that shit gets sold and it gets put up on Showtime before Uppity does, you do not bother walking through that door.
We got a black writer, so I feel like we're pretty.
Damn it!
But it's even though we have the deadline, or at least not the deadline, the marker of the event, right? November 2nd, like that's gonna be the event. We got to document that, blah, blah. We have so much more to do after that. Like there's gonna be another year of like just putting the documentary together. It's crazy. Like to your point, if it's a marathon.
And look, and the key to the marathon is see if you can run 6 of them simultaneously, because that's the whole plan. There's 20.
Ultraman.
You have to have a bunch of stuff going on all the time, and it all just takes a long time, and none of it feels like show business or Hollywood. None of it feels like a red carpet and flashbulbs. It's all just meetings and conference calls
Yeah,
and
that's
traffic.
the last 30 seconds on the clock
Right.
of this experience.
Right. All right. We have. I know how much the fans seem to love distracted Drew in New York with looking at getting pop-ups on his computer or just drifting off, reading a racing form. You know, he's smoking a cigar and reading a racing form. And as far
In his club chair.
Monday's show, there's a bit that the Drew drops were from Wednesday. Okay, but there was something from Monday's show that I did not share with you.
Oh, well, then,
By all means.
Yeah, it's a little more interesting, but here it is. The politicians have figured this one out, and they've realized this is a large group. I mean, this may be a group larger than the group that's on the farm. You gotta be kidding me.
Fire alarm went off.
Why is it going off?
I don't know. Susan, did you do this?
I don't know.
Or is it somewhere else and never happened before?
Is it back home?
He must be.
Any other way.
No. Is you hitting the spleeve? It's a spleeve.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's something.
She's cooking steaks.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
God.
Okay, my wife did it
How does she do it?
Fire.
by cooking. It's a small apartment we're in, and she cooks something, and there's very little smoke. Okay, it's off now.
What's she making?
That's
What's she making?
she's making steak for me.
Oh, man.
She's grilling a steak for me, man. That's it.
It's a real Ford versus Ferrari moment.
He's like, I'm going to eat the steak during show 3.
Drew, how does that sound? Delicious.
Succulent.
No, yeah. He's probably like, listen, these young, savory kids with all their searing
Barely
glances.
Juicy marbling.
Somebody needs to pound some A1. First off, A1 right off the top. Someone needs to pound some, tenderize these young, meaty juveniles.
Anyway, dry rub, line 3.
McCormick.
Jesus Christ. I should dock Drew for that whole week, right? I just got to go, hey, man, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to, even if it's just symbolic, like open your wallet, give me $100.
You should suspend him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not fire, but suspend. You know, just give him something to think about.
No, because if
He's
Spaz
coming in.
comes in,
He's coming in like in an hour and a half or
Well,
something.
that'll be quite a rude awakening when he gets here.
and if
Tell him to turn around.
if Dr. Spaz comes in, it's not going to make Adam any happier.
true.
He's not going to be any more convenienced.
This old lady's grilling up steaks.
He's trying.
He's checking his online stocks. Jesus goddamn Christ.
Good life.
All right, so that was that was show number 1, and then I think show number 3 were the drops. All right, we'll try to
And show 5.
show
my
5 as
God.
well. That's right.
If he wasn't such an earnest person, I would absolutely know in my heart he was fucking with you.
I do know. I often wonder.
Right.
Yes, Drew. Drew, you were a good student.
Yeah.
How does that work? You don't seem to be able to follow instructions or listen to people.
Well, sometimes I do. I'll tell you what.
No, I know, but not when I'm telling you to do stuff. You don't follow instructions.
Crazy.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's a little more than crazy. I'd say it's a bit of a problem. I mean, you call yourself a broadcaster. Yeah, that's it. That's just a grunt.
I
Huh? That's it. Oh, okay. This is what I'm talking about. I'm trying to have a conversation here about your inability to broadcast. I can barely have a conversation with you. It's like you're distracted.
Right.
No, I said you were distracted.
Right.
No, this is not a compliment. It's not for you to agree with. I'm saying you sound like you're going through the show in a distracted manner.
Right.
It's passive aggressive. Dr. Drew.
I don't know. Elliot Gould and Dr. Drew together.
Oh.
I just feel like Gina. All right, I'm gonna set the table here. You ready, Brian and Gina?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm gonna call this the making of an eating disorder. Okay?
Okay.
Now, Dr. Drew and Elliot Gould are your gay adopted parents.
Sure. Yeah.
You are the young 12-year-old. Now, remember, you were put up for adoption.
Yeah.
So God knows what kind of trauma
Yeah.
you've seen.
Yeah.
You know what I
Dealing
mean?
with some rejection anyway.
Yeah.
That's just the beginning.
I would say you're a 13-year-old girl.
Okay.
And you have two pieces of news to break. Now, I'm going to do a Castrol read here, but a challenge. But you have two pieces of news to break to your adopted gay parents, Dr. Drew and Elliot Gould. One is you just made the sophomore volleyball team at school. And the other is you've started your period. All right, now I'm going to let you, whatever that means to you.
Great. Sure.
And I'll tell you about Castrol Edge first. Tweet us at Adam Carolla Show with the hashtag Castrol Challenge with your question for Castrol Challenge and Castrol Edge, brought to you by Castrol Edge, formulated with fluid titanium technology. You got the question, Max Pata?
I do. J.R. Huff on Twitter wants to know hashtag Castrol Challenge. In your opinion, what is the greatest innovation in the last 70 years in automotive history? Seatbelts, fuel injection, anti-lock brakes. What do you think?
I'm going to say, well, the craziest one is the airbag. Like, I remember the first time when they were like experimenting with airbags, and I'm like, so you just got to tape a giant yoga ball to your steering wheel? It's like, no, it deploys.
It explodes.
It's like, where's it come from? The middle of your steering wheel. And I was like, I've seen steering wheels. It's just plastic. Like, it's a hard plastic thing. It's like, no, there's a bag in there. And I'm like, yeah, but when my front bumper hits the rear bumper of the other car at 40 miles an hour, how is that airbag going to beat my forehead to the steering wheel? And
It'll
they're
never
like,
work.
oh, it'll be fully deployed by the time your head gets there. It's like, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane piece of technology. Like,
Wizardry.
if you think about an airbag and what it does, it deploys fast enough that your body doesn't make contact with the steering column, whatever, but not so fast that it breaks every rib in your body like an explosion. Although I know sometimes there's mishaps that can be dangerous. And if you were to ask me, that would add an extra $400,000 to every car. Like, well,
You're in luck.
that Toyota Yaris was $17,500, but with the airbags, it's $417,500. Like, the idea that is just standard. And it adds $1,100 to the price of every car. And there's ones that roll down in the curtain now and deploy from the side.
Oh, yeah.
All the side impact stuff. You really just take airbags and you just think technology, a inflatable. Like when the guy jumps off a roof, a stuntman, and lands in that airbag, that'll be between your right shoulder and the car, and then your forehead and the dash, and the kids in the back. That's kind of nuts that they all possess that. All right, so that to me is the most incredible technology. The one that still doesn't exist, that drives me insane, is I had Short Matt D'Andrea got the new Rolls-Royce SUV.
Damn.
They let him drive it for a week. But it's a Rolls-Royce SUV, and it it makes the Lamborghini look like a RAV4. Like, it is Rolls-Royce SUV. And that guy met me at my new warehouse, and he pulled in and met him there at like 1 o'clock or whatever. And we got, he parked it outside. We went in the warehouse, looked around, blah, 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 la canyada. It's been hot, sun's up, blah, blah, blah. And by the time we walked back out there, he was like, you got to check this car. We were hotter than balls inside of this thing. Now, it's a $425,000 SUV, but it is the exact same temperature as your Subaru is when it's in my parking lot and it's parked
Cooking.
next to it, and you open the door. You gotta be able to have a second battery, run a second pump that runs an air conditioning pump like that. Don't okay. It doesn't have to be 72 degrees in there. Don't let it get above 90.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's a little
Have a
wasteful.
vent and a pump
Yeah.
and a whatever and run that thing, man. It's a $400,000 car. You climb into that car, it's leather. The back of your thighs are burning on the world's most expensive leather. All right, let's see. Yeah. Castrol Edge. What was I talking about? Yeah. I want to thank Castrol Edge for that. All right, you guys, should we take a break before we do that, Maxipata?
No, we'll wait till Jeff gets here and we'll take a break.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Wait.
No break.
Oh, interesting.
All right.
You want to hear? Wait, what?
No, we got a
We're going
recreation.
to do this with Jeff, though, so we should take a break.
Yeah, I don't know how many breaks we need. Can we take a break or
We can
does it
take a
matter?
break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's take a break.
All right.
Cronkite. Here's another great moment in local news.
We tried to reach out to the man who died in this pursuit. They were unavailable for comment.
That's a great moment in local news. Now, back to the Adam Carolla Show.
Yeah, somebody tweeted me that. The other sad tweet I got was, I guess Garagos took it from his office building.
Yeah.
You know, the goddamn thing about as a guy slumped over shooting up on the street, and there's another guy.
Oh, two of them
shooting up. Look, here's a jump the shark kind of moment as I speak all the time. Citizens are essentially customers, and we pay in taxes as sort of customers in this giant restaurant known as Los Angeles,
The
or
service.
California,
Yeah.
or any city. That's essentially how it works. You're the customer, and you pay, and of course, you don't get what you get like you would get it in a open market system where Chipotle's competing one-on-one with In-N-Out Burger, because they're hustling their ass off. I mean, the UPS drivers, the guys, they get paid, they have a route, they have parcels, they got to get it's the only people you see running.
Yeah.
Are the UPS guys, like literally in their job. You don't see gardeners running. These guys jump out of their truck and they're running. Okay. Again, the only hustling you ever see by the city is the parking enforcement guys. The parking enforcement guys, as I now think about it, are now carrying around these handheld computer devices and scanning VIN numbers and boom, so they can go to the DMV. They don't accept credit cards. So where are they on the technological spectrum?
It can be done. They've shown.
I'm going to the other DMV where they do accept credit cards.
Right. There is no. So California has a DMV, has to do with automobiles. They do not accept credit cards. But all of the parking enforcement guys are armed with these little mini computer scanner things, and they can scan, and they also have smart meters now that know when you pull out. So
And also accept credit cards.
Are we on the vanguard of technology, or are we living in the 70s? And the question is, well, where are we making money? And the credit card and the street guy and the parking enforcement and all that's fast turnover, lots of cash. DMV is you bring a check, or you can go home, get your checkbook, and come back and hand them the same check.
Or not drive.
40 minutes later.
Those are choices.
They don't care.
Yeah, they don't really care. They're getting paid one way or the other. It doesn't have to be fast. The parking, now, the meter maid has to be fast, because the meter maid has to catch the car before you come out of the barber shop or the salon, and the meter maid must get in X amount of cars an hour. DMV can have lines up the wazoo. They don't really care. They don't need to speed you. It's just going to be X amount of people coming through and dropping off traveler's checks or gold bullion or pelts. I don't know if they're taking pelts now, but they don't take credit cards. So the city's relationship with a Mark Garagos, who's downtown, the relationship is Mark has many businesses, pays a shitload in taxes. Living in California, I think you just pay 13% just for the state taxes. Some places have none. Most places are none or lower. We pay, I don't know if we're the highest, but we're amongst the highest at, I think, around 13%. Then Mark Garagos gets another bullshit like 1 or 2% city tax or something for what he does. Not to mention the fact that he just employs tons and tons of people at hotels and restaurants. And then there's all the regulation and the workman's comp and all the this and the that and the other. Everything, then he's over there trying to renovate a restaurant. He's getting hit with all the
ADA.
All the Americans with disabilities and all the permits and all. They're nuts and insane with that. And so the understanding is fine. Mark Garagos or Adam Carolla or whoever's paying in, sort of the customer, we shall do this. And then what you guys have to do in return is not have anarchy on the street.
That's the arrangement.
That's all we ask.
Yes, you must. I cannot be stepping on syringes as I'm walking into this business I'm paying a ton of money in taxes on. You have to now you don't have to do much, but you just have to do enough to kind of keep it from turning into Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Like it just
Clean up some of the poop.
Yeah, you have to just kind of keep the junkies from flopping in front of the place of business. Now, it'd be nice if all the street lights worked and the sides of the freeway looked pristine and everything else. I don't know what it is about L.A. in particular, but when you drive through Utah, or you drive through Arizona, or you drive through Nevada, or you drive through Portland, and you see the sides of the freeways, they always look groomed and well done. If it's a place that's a wetter environment, they have a different kind of plant growing there, but it's lush and it's filled in.
Manicured.
Yes, and then when you go into New Mexico, it's another kind of scape, but it works.
It matches.
Why is LA just a pile of super weeds, just super brown high weeds mixed with what looks like abandoned construction materials? Always just like there's some rebar we kind of grew out of.
Yeah,
and they just
look
kind
either way.
of dump and some random pieces of like plywood and some building materials and like a traffic cone and interspersed with garbage and everything else. Like what? You guys ever like seen that around here? And it's like, why? What are we doing or not doing? Or what's everyone else doing? How do we do it? You know, when you pull on the freeway here, you pull off or whatever, and it's just like you're going to the Burbank airport. It's super weeds that are like 6 foot high. They're all dead. And there's just trash.
In my area, it's shopping carts. Just shopping carts, just littered about, strewn about. Some full of things, some not.
Maybe they think the weeds will hide the garbage, take care of itself.
Maybe that is our local flora.
Yeah.
I'm kind of, so I don't know. I know not all the topography is the same, but
it can be done.
Arizona and Seattle seem to have kind of figured it out. Well, why is there none of that? But all right, we just pay. Right. We just keep paying and we just keep getting tickets and regulations and whatever else. But at a certain point, the city dips below the sort of minimum that the big shitty restaurant that overcharges and there's no other options. They dip below the minimum they need to do. And we're now a little below.
We're underwater.
We're little. Mark Garagos is watching people shooting drugs up and
multiple people on the same stretch of block.
Right. As I said, I misworded it slightly, but he sent that tweet out, and I said, if the dude, the junkie who was sitting on the red curb in the street shooting up, if he was in his car, the city would do something about it.
He'd be there less than 2 minutes before he got ticketed.
Right.
He'd be taken away immediately in his car.
Right. Now, I get the fact that you're the city and you're the state and you just want money, but at a certain point, you have to feign some interest.
Well, and that's why there's nobody knows what this means or what they're going to do, but Trump is looking at LA and saying, you guys got to figure this out. We are going to send some people to help you figure this out. So that'll be interesting, see what they come up with.
And Garcetti's like, we need to see your tax returns first, bitch. Like, okay, how about you fucking clean up the junkies? Jesus Christ. It is fucking bad. It is bad. Oh, good. Jeff Dunham's here. Poor Jeff.
Speaking of things that aren't bad.
Jeff's walking into a recreation, unfortunately, that I was probably going to spare you.
I don't care.
You don't care?
What did I miss? I walked into a party not knowing what was going on, and you're angry.
I'm always angry. Jeff,
best.
I just saw Ford v Ferrari, the new movie.
What made you angry about that movie? It looks great.
It's great. And there's nothing. I was angry at the city. All right. So as promised, how do we set this up?
You tell me. It's your brainchild.
You're, yes.
Elliot and Drew.
Yeah, you're Elliot and Dr. Drew. And Elliot Gould and Dr. Drew in drop form. Gina Grad is their 12-and-a-half-year-old adopted daughter who just made the volleyball team of her junior high and has also gotten her first period.
Yeah.
And we're going to figure out if we can give her an eating disorder.
Should we bring her boyfriend home? Can you be her boyfriend? Can we be meeting them for the first time?
12 years old. We'll see what happens.
You tell me in the drop
There might
department.
be a walk-on.
Yeah, I'll walk on. We'll see how we feel. Sorry, Jeff Dunham. We'll get you in.
We're very sorry, Jeff Dunham.
I have no
2
idea what's
minutes and
going
30
on.
seconds. I know. That's why I was kind of telling Max Pato should have knocked it out, then brought Dunham in. But all right, here we go. Yeah. No, listen. Don't yell. We're had a mini something off the air. All right, go ahead.
This is something.
Dad, I have something great to tell you.
Crazy.
No, you're gonna love this. This is, how I've been working on trying to make the volleyball team.
I think you'll love it.
Yeah, I think you're gonna love it too, Dad. I've been working so hard, and I know you guys have been too busy. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been staying out every night till like 10 p.m. in the backyard working on my serve. And guess what? I made the volleyball team.
Who gives a shit?
Dad, you're so funny. Always making those funny jokes. But Dad, isn't it so great? I mean, I know you guys aren't really supportive of the whole volleyball thing or really much of anything I do in particular, but this I knew would make you so proud.
Well, sometimes I do. I'll tell you what.
Well, I sure hope this is one of those times, Dad, because my social worker thought that it would be really a good bonding experience for me to tell you some good news, and maybe you'd start paying more attention to me.
You want to talk some more?
Actually, I'm glad you said that, Dad. I thought maybe the volleyball news would soften the blow of the other news. I'm not really sure how to say this, and I'm a little uncomfortable and embarrassed, but I guess since I don't have a mom, I'm getting to it. Just takes some courage.
Right.
Yeah. I got my period today, Dad's.
Crazy.
All right, and scene.
Correct.
Oh, correct. Thank you, Jeff. Sorry, Jeff Dunham.
We're very sorry you had to experience
The piece of unfinished business. Jeff Dunham, by the way, beside himself, new Netflix special. It's available this Tuesday, September 24th, and you can just watch it on Netflix, or you can
Or watch it on Netflix.
Or, but if you want to know about live dates, I guess you can go to jeffdunham.com. Jeff is such an amazing performer and sells so many tickets. It's absolutely unbelievable. I think I came on. The first time I was aware of you being such a big comedic player in this space is when my first book, In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks, I think came out like 10 years ago.
Yep.
And I would check the Amazon, who's on top of the spoken word charts. It was like, who the fuck is this Jeff Dunham? And why is his the top 8 albums on this, and why am I number 9? And
That's really
I was
funny.
like, this guy Jeff Dunham's just dominating. And then later we became friends, and he's a car guy and
Has it
everything
been 10
else.
years? Really? 10 years since that book and my book? Oh my gosh, that's nuts. Is that right?
Well, I
8
mean,
years?
if
8 years.
it's not 10, it's a little weird because you write it 10 years ago, but it's kind of a year in the making.
Did you have a ghostwriter? Be honest.
No, I do. Well, let's figure out what you'd call Mike Lynch. Has a Guinness record for most tickets sold for a stand-up tour. So
there you go.
Almost 2 million tickets sold. It's
Can I ask you something
unbelievable.
before we go on with
Yeah.
this? Okay, so we went to the Peterson, what was that, a month or two ago, to celebrate 10 years of CarCast, right?
Right.
That was awesome.
I agree.
A car show is fantastic. And Adam, you showed up too.
Yes.
But you had a designated driver. Your wife drove you to your own CarCast anniversary thing. To me, that was just not right.
Oh,
There's
well,
probably some drinking.
Yeah, you had a designated driver to your own event. That's not right.
I'm trying to think of how the hell that worked. But I did. Well, I was there from noon to 10:30 at night or something. We had the car show during the day that Jeff was a part of and Lena was a part of, and that was great. Then we showed Uppity, the Willie T doc, in the middle, and then at the end was the podcast that Kimmel came out to, and so on and so forth. So I knew I was going to be there for a million years, and I probably knew I was going to have a few cocktails before the night was over, and that
Well, that
probably
was fun.
what led to that.
That was fun.
Brag a little about some of the crazy cars you have?
Oh, I don't know. This is a disease that started about 10 years ago, and I can't stop it. It's ridiculous.
It is, right?
It is. It's nuts. How many do you have now?
I don't know. And I don't know.
Good sign.
Well, look, if a blues singer doesn't know how many kids he has, I can forget how many cars I have.
It's prolific.
You end up selling some to buy some, and then there's some going out and some coming in and some in a million different pieces.
But see, Leno says he never sells anything.
No, he doesn't.
I don't understand that. It's like he just keeps buying warehouses or buying buildings and adding on.
Yes.
That's a good thing to do, I guess, if you have the money.
You literally cannot see to the end of his warehouse anymore. Like, you open the door, and it looks like one of those paintings in a sci-fi movie where they have this sort of endless hall. But you now must get into a golf cart
To
indoors
get to the other end.
to get to the other end.
But they're not all in a row either. It's kind of this menagerie where you walking around, you're like, did I turn here?
Right.
And yeah, it's really impressive, and they do a great job. And I don't know how many guys work for him. There's always somebody different. It's like there's that guy making something over there, and then the shop is incredible.
Oh, the fabricating that goes on.
Yeah, but he's big into steam engines, which I don't understand until he talks about it, and then it's pretty impressive.
You show up there, Leno's underneath a steam car trying to light it with a propane burner. Like, that's how he is. He's underneath the car with a propane burner, like trying to fire it up. And then
Walks
there's
the walk, man.
Yeah. Then there's the super talkative Bernard, where you go over there and you go, "Hey, Bernard, you going out to Laguna Seca this year?" And he goes, "Yep." And I go, "I'll be there with the 935 Porsche." And he goes, "Okay." Okay. Good talk, Bernard.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So anyway, that was nice of the Peterson to do that. I have my Batmobile over there. One of my Batmobiles, the '66 Batmobile, is over there. So you asked about the cars, so that's in there.
Damn! Look at that.
We're looking at it here.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, no, that's not the '66.
That's the '89 version.
Yeah, that's the '89 one. Actually, '91 from Batman Returns. Even though they were the exact same car, but yeah. So and that one's street legal and fun. And there we are a few months ago or a couple years ago.
The Infinity. You had an aqua car that you did a cool race with on Jay Leno's garage.
Yeah, the Ampha car.
Is that yours?
Yeah. Now we did two different races. One was for the '63 Ampha car, which they made for a handful of years. I'd have to look it up. And to me, that's just there's all kinds of charm in that thing because it's a horrible car and a terrible boat. Right. But as they used to say when they would sell it, it's the fastest boat on land and the fastest car on water.
Right. It's basically what an automobile boat. They made a production.
I've seen James Bond.
It's to that what the bed sofa is to the futon. Like, would you like the least? It's the most uncomfortable sofa and the worst bed together. Like, it's like, I'm not sure what the lure of that. How about we just get a boat, and a car, and a mattress, and a sofa?
Well,
it's a better life.
The beauty about this thing is when you see it, it just looks like something out of a Pixar movie, like a regular cute little cartoon car. Until you look slightly underneath, and there's two propellers in the back.
Right. It's crazy. And they didn't. They made them, and they made them in earnest. Like, they're like, we're gonna sell some of these things. We're gonna move a ton of units in Minnesota.
They didn't move.
And
what company?
Was it one?
I don't know. No, it wasn't a major manufacturer. I do not believe. It probably had a power plant from GM or Opel.
No,
or something
it was
like
all
that.
foreign. It was all Matt would have to come in here. It's German and English, so I think it's a Rolls Royce. I have to look it up.
But the motor was probably a name you'd recognize.
Yeah, it's an English.
Like an MG.
Like Triumph, four-cylinder.
Triumph, right. But the car was made by who knows what.
But they had dealerships in the U.S., and they thought they were going to sell a ton, and they did not.
Right. And then you guys drove around a fast, cool, modern version of this.
Now, I forget the name of that thing, but that thing was
killer.
But it was killer, but it was kind of like giving yourself a really great race car, some kind of sports car, and putting you in the parking lot at Walmart. How long can you have fun?
Right. Yeah.
You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything. So we had this really fast amphibious vehicle on the water, and it's like, all right, we're going fast from here to here,
Right.
and then we're going from here to here, and that was it. You have to have a river.
Did you guys? Oh yeah, you got to do one of those things like in New Zealand where they have those jet boats. Or
So you can
whatever.
go somewhere.
Get back to net. What? How many is this for you and Netflix?
This is only the second one because I did 8 with Comedy, or 7 or 8 with Comedy Central, 1 with NBC, and now this one.
Is the New World Order that you make the doc and then try to figure out who wants it the most or the highest bidder is, or do you do it beforehand with the company?
Yeah, this is my second one because I was contracted with doing 2 after the first one. And of course, after we contracted the first one, that's when Netflix came along and made all those giant deals with all those other comedians and these huge numbers. And I'm like sitting there going, I made a shitty deal.
It is crazy, but look, obviously you have multiple Batmobiles, so you're doing okay.
You know
Dry
what?
those tears.
I think I've told you this when I was in the. I got divorced a number of years ago. I'm happily married now, but divorced a number of years ago. And I used to say during the divorce and the worst proceedings and all the money that was spent on lawyers and stuff, I would turn to my lawyer or whatever and go, well, at least I have the Batmobile.
Yeah. I talked to a rich guy once, got divorced, and he said, Jesus Christ, my monthly payments are like $72,000. They're like my ex-wife. And I just went, well, you've arrived.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, think about how we grew up. Imagine your dad or my dad or probably just said, you must cut a check for $72,000 every month to this shrew that lives across the street now. Like, they would have been like, what?
Yeah.
72? That's a lifetime's worth of work.
Like, attach it
2
to a
years?
unicorn and send it over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm paying monthly what most people will never make in a year.
It's insane.
It's nuts. It's so stupid.
But
It's crazy.
you've arrived.
Yeah, but and also Audrey and I have now been married for 6 years. We have twin boys that are almost 4, and I will. I did penance for whatever years to come to that, so I'm very happy with that. So who cares?
Oh, and I know you. We talked about before you flying helicopters.
I haven't in a long time. I built my own and flew them. I built 3 different ones, and I flew them for 20 years, and I was never killed, and it was great. But then
It's a good run.
Yeah, it's a good run. But then I get kids and a family, and it's like you're running out of time for hobbies.
You know who's a professional?
Yeah, Adam, you run out of time for hobbies.
You know who's a professional helicopter pilot who was an actor we'll recognize?
Harrison Ford?
No, he's Lorenzo Lamas.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Lorenzo Lamas, renegade.
Yeah.
Like super hunky Lorenzo Lamas.
Wasn't he on Hot or Not or some sort of show like that?
Yeah,
maybe?
he's basically known for being a hunk, but he's a super nice dude, and he's now just a full-time helicopter pilot.
Wait, isn't his mother? His mother was Esther Williams. Is that right?
I don't know. That makes sense. I've got to figure
Somebody should look that up.
that one out. But he's
There's my
definitely,
6th degree of separation.
definitely got the good genes. So
I knew
Jeff,
Esther Williams. Is all I'm saying.
how do you know? Where did you start out? Where did you grow up?
Dallas. Grew up in Dallas. Yeah, and I was reading about you today. So you've been here forever. Like,
Yeah.
That's it. That's great. I was reading some very interesting stuff. You know what's funny is on the Wikipedia, before I got to, I always want to bone up on whoever I'm talking to. And I know a lot about Adam, but I learned something today. It's so funny on your Wikipedia. It has all these interesting stats and facts and didn't graduate from high school until you paid your library fine and all that stuff. That, to me, how long? But that you did that on the Man Show, or when did you end up paying it off?
No, Esther Williams, stepson of Esther Williams.
Got it.
I barely graduated North Hollywood High. I failed driver's ed and I failed biology, and I was a horrible, horrible student. I never even took algebra in high school. Most people have taken algebra
That
in the
is
7th grade.
insane.
Never an algebra class. I took high school math. I was horrible, but I got a D in Spanish, and they said, you may graduate. And I graduated, and they handed out diplomas to everybody, and I didn't get my diploma. And I said, where is my diploma? And they said, you don't get your diploma. You pay the book room, $19.95 for We the People. And when you pay them, then we give you a diploma. And my self-esteem is low, and my family's a piece of shit. And I was like, or I can just leave? And they're just like, yeah, not with a diploma. And I was like, $19.95 is that's a chunk of change for a young, unemployed Adam
Broke.
Carolla. And by the way, what am I doing with this diploma again? I'm gonna clean garbage on a construction site, like I'm digging ditches or pushing a wand, cleaning carpet. So I was like, oh, okay, well, keep your diploma. I'm leaving.
And that was
it?
it?
I just left. Then years later, when I was doing the Adam Carolla project, the TV show where I rehabbed my dad's house next door to the school, we thought it'd be a funny bit if I went in there with the 1995 years later and got my diploma, and I did.
You did?
Yeah.
All right, we have similar stories. So I was in elementary school, and I checked out a book on how to do ventriloquism. It was called Fun with Ventriloquism. Mm-hmm. And I guess I was a thief because I liked it, and I learned from it, and I learned my craft, and I never returned it, ever. And my mother didn't know I had it, and I had it. It's Dallas Public Library. Remember the little sleeve where you put the card in it in the book, and they would stamp when you checked it out, and I have the date I checked it out. Never returned it. Until the world turned, and I was playing the American Airlines Center in Dallas, which is also where we shot my Netflix special, which comes on the 24th. Thank you very much. So I decided to take that library book, and this was a couple of 3 years ago. We got a representative from the Dallas Public Library to come out, and I had the person come on stage, and I presented them with we figured out what the fine would have been.
With inflation?
With inflation, yeah. And it was crazy. It ended up being like next to nothing. It was only a few $100, so I gave him a check for $10,000.
Wow.
yeah, for the public library.
Adam's going to do that on his next special, too.
I gave him $19.95.
And also, the whole point I was making is that on your big Wikipedia thing, all these amazing facts, and then there's one sentence that says, Adam is left-handed.
Yeah, I had
He doesn't write that.
I had to kind of caution somebody the other day when I was like filling something out, and they went, "Oh, a lefty. My brothers." I just want to go shut up. Like, we have nothing in common. Right. And by the way, I'm not saying I'm better.
Connection.
I'm not saying I'm better than your brother. We just have a left.
We're not kindred spirits.
Yeah, find out if like Stalin or Mussolini or Hitler was left-handed, and then I'll just be able to throw that back at everyone.
Infamous left-handers.
Like your brother.
I have a question for you. Okay, so sitting around, this to me is amazing how things have changed. I know you talk about this general subject all the time, but when you first did your rant on that went viral, the rant on how the man's driving down the street in the fancy car, and years ago we'd say, "Look at that man, he worked hard, he had a job, and now he has the fancy car." And nowadays it's like, "Look at that a-hole,"
right?
With the car. So I don't know how many years ago you did that rant, but I want to know. What is your theory on when did it change? When did just the kindness of people, what caused all that? I have my own theory where it's just not this nice place that we grew up in anymore. And it's never going back. It's as ugly as it gets, and every generation says that. It's so horrible now, but I don't know how. What happened to people being kind to each other? The last time we were kind to each other was the day after 9/11.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that lasted for a few weeks, a couple months. Yeah. Everybody put flags on their cars. Everybody was proud. Everybody was happy. And then suddenly happened. My theory is everybody got devices. Everybody got a platform. It turned into the me. And everybody thinks they're really important. And everybody has a voice. And they think they're listening. And they think they can say anything they want to behind a keyboard. And get away with it. Because you would never say those things to that person to their face.
Well, I think there's kind of two sides to this. There's a sort of just technological, mechanical side, which is it's always been easy for people to flip people the bird in their car going off the off-ramp, and the person was driving slow in front of them. So there's a kind of a wiring where it's like, I'm not going to be standing on the same patio as that guy 15 minutes. Like, we're not going to the same party. Right. So obviously, if you know that guy's going to the same party or supermarket or what have you that you're going to, or work destination or whatever, you tend not to flip them off, right? But when you have that, like, hey, he's going that way and I'm going that way, screw you, buddy.
I learned that lesson the hard way because the light right by my daughter's preschool, there's always some car that's kind of a little too tentative, and a couple times like, honk, honk, let's go, buddy, let's go, moving. Right into the daycare. Right into the daycare, my friend.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
Bin Laden, left-handed. Okay, good to know for the
better,
next time someone compliments me and says, my brother, me and Bin Laden.
The three of us.
Laden. That's the three of us. Okay, so there's a kind of tweet it out, screw you, wouldn't do it if you're in the room, which is kind of a version of the highway. What the highway used to be, screw you, buddy, never going to see you again. You wouldn't do it if you were in the same car together, going to the same place together, whatever. So there's that. But there's a bigger overarching problem, which is people, which I never knew about, but I'm now realizing. We have a very strong sort of victim sympathy gene that we've successfully tamped down for. That's what society's been doing. They just tamp it down. We do it, your parents do it, society does it, So, the coach, Dr. Drew, does it. What I'm saying is you get two kids in a room. One kid tells a story about, I fell off my skateboard last summer and I broke my forearm and I had to give a cast. Every other kid in that room will come in with a story about them falling off something, falling out of a treehouse. They'll tell their story. It was in Jaws, basically, when they're comically
showing
Jaws.
Scars.
But yeah, that's our wiring. Our wiring is, you think you got it bad? You think you're a victim? So we'll just jump in. As adults, you kind of try to tamp it down, and you also kind of realize, like, if you came from a poor family, that's your business, but you don't have a pour off. Everyone's having pour offs now. We were poor. We were low. Everyone's doing this thing. Like, and it's funny when they catch themselves doing it. Like I was
you do
like,
that with Tales of the Cheap.
I
Like
do
Liz
it.
would come in here with a great story. Like, well, yeah, my parents ignored me.
I do it.
that.
He just wants to make sure he's got us all beat.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that's my wiring. That's my wiring as well.
I know.
So, and mine was ignored. I'm. That's worse. Anyway, see what I'm doing? So it's like
One downer.
when Joe Biden was on Jay Leno's garage, he was showing him his '63 convertible Corvette, and he's like, "Well, my dad ran the sales fleet for the largest." Chevy dealer in the tri-state area, and so when me and Connie got married, I'm 24 years old. I went to the dealer, and the whole dealership was outside, and they said, "This is your wedding gift, son." And like, I got a fucking crock pot for my dad. But then he paused. Like, and he went like, "We weren't rich, we were just these hardworking folk."
Yeah.
It's like a hardworking folk that give people Corvettes when they get married. You know what I mean? Like, but he caught himself like real quick. Like, oh shit, I can't have people think I was born on third base.
No.
So there's a movement. There's an aggrieved kind of a movement. There's a victim kind of mentality, and everyone else. Before this day, the idea was to tamp it down. Like, it's like the whole deal was level playing field. This is America. Hard work wins. Blah blah blah. Now everyone's a goddamn victim. But how can we have an entire colony of victims with no oppressor?
Oh,
because do the math on being a victim. Like, somebody's got to be someone's got to be oppressing me. How can I? It can't work that everyone's just oppressed. So now we start figuring out who's oppressing us, because we're doing a kind of a victim math, which is a narcissism. This I'm a victim. It's narcissistic, and then we go into the hero part where we start calling out the oppressors, and the oppressors are basically anyone who's got more shit than me, which is, you've got 2 Batmobiles, I only got 1. I'm a victim. You're oppressing me, and the politicians and the zeitgeist and the news agencies have found out that's good stuff. They love that
People
stuff.
will tune in for that.
They'll tune in for that. Yeah, when that Nick Sandman kid was on the steps of the Washington Monument, and there was an American Indian guy. They were like, "Oh my God, he's wearing a MAGA hat, and that guy's an American Indian. He's being oppressed, and he's blocking. That's white privilege." Oh, that little white kid they went berserk on it. They had all the information. They ran right past it and right to the story. Right to the story. When the kid jumps off the bridge and kills himself, it's right to his roommate who was he was anti-LGBT, and he caused him to kill himself by filming him and blah 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 blah. Like, we're looking for the victim. And as soon as we find the victim, 10 seconds later, we need the oppressor, because our victim story doesn't really fly. So like the little kid in the MAGA hat, he and the American Indian is the victim, but he can't be a victim in the middle of the desert. He needs the guy standing in front of him. And then we build the story. He's an elder. He's a veteran. He's blocking his way. Look at that look on his face. Blah, 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 blah. The Indian guy's a fucking crackpot. And the kid's wearing a MAGA hat. That's his crime. But we spin it into everything. That's what we're doing. Now, you should have something called dignity. And you should not get involved with that.
That's my whole point. Is I got to the point, I guess, a couple of months ago that I was trying to keep up with the news and what's going on, and I finally just had it, and I turned off the tweets from everybody except my wife and a couple of people, and it's like I can't. I know so many people now that don't want to watch the news anymore. They don't want to turn on anything. It's just that's why the Hallmark Channel is kicking ass right now.
I've said it a million times, but it's like dogs on an airplane. They didn't exist, and now they're ubiquitous because we made a mistake. We relied on people's personal dignity. We're like, look, you're not going to get a fake note from your doctor. If you really need the dog, you may travel with your dog, but no fake notes. And everyone, fuck that. I'm getting a fake note. And we sort of trusted people with social media. Like, you guys will be able to communicate from your phone, doing this device. You can use you may critique someone's performance or someone's aesthetic or someone's whatever, but have dignity. Have
Above
dignity.
the belt.
And remember, we all have kids and parents and whatever. Would you want somebody saying this about your daughter
you
or
could
your
tweet
son?
to them and tell them how much you hate them and hate their latest movie, I suppose.
Right.
Why would you?
But see, those are the basics.
Right. So we relied on something that we don't have anymore, which was quiet dignity. It would have been beneath you to go online and talk about what an idiot this person, or call someone a Nazi, or say something was wrong. She's such a pig or whatever. That would be beneath your character.
Yeah, that would bring shame to yourself, not just the person you're trying to shame.
That's what I'm talking about. The reason I think about this so much now is I have 4-year-old twin boys, and I'm realizing that I'm teaching them all the basics that you learned in kindergarten, which are all the basics that we're supposed to behave like as human beings, and everybody's lost sight of that. I keep saying to my sons, okay, you just punched your brother in the face, right? Would you want someone punching you in the face?
Right.
No. And how in the hell are you going to raise children to behave that way with the way society's going now? I don't know.
Well, the problem and why society, and especially Los Angeles and California, are crumbling is something that I've really been focusing on, is this notion of our governor, Gavin Newsom, just went, look, if too many people, especially black kids or Hispanic kids, statistically are getting suspended from school, then we need to just change the rules on suspending kids from school, which is now game on, because we're essentially just going, these kids need discipline. They need a parental figure. They need an authority figure. And we've just decided we didn't like the numbers. So it's like basically you saying, I got a 13-year-old daughter. It's basically, I've said, look, Natalia, your curfew is 10 o'clock, and she's coming home at 3 a.m.
Right.
And I, as a parent, want to stop this behavior. So Gavin Newsom, who's my retarded neighbor, he goes, you know what you need to do? And I go, what? Do not discipline her. That's mean. Change the clocks.
Change the curfew.
So when just move the clock over.
She'll never be past curfew.
When she goes out at 7 o'clock at night, take all the clocks and just set them back 5 hours. Then when she shows up at 3, the clocks will say 10.
Yeah.
And she'll make her curfew.
Problem
and I
solved.
would say, well, technically, retarded neighbor Gavin Newsom, technically that would work. Like, she would, according to my clock, make her curfew, but it still wouldn't stop her from being out and drinking with teenage boys till the wee hours of the night. Yeah. But you say you have a problem with her and her curfew? Right. What's the problem? She comes in after 10 o'clock. Change the clocks. And that's essentially what he's doing with a lot of prison shit, a lot of drug shit, a lot of homeless shit, and you tell me how it works. How does it work?
Then how do you have a guy like that making decisions like that, thinking that that's okay?
I don't think. You know what I think he thinks? I think he thinks I am going to make these decisions. I shall be popular in my group making these decisions, and I'll be gone when the whole shit show goes down. When these 12-year-olds that are taking swings at teachers. By the time they're 17, I'll be fucking long gone. Like, who gives a shit? What was his decision, or what was that legislation?
So it was a bill beginning next July. Teachers in California will no longer be allowed to suspend elementary and middle school students from school for disrupting classroom activities or defying authorities.
But guess what the good news is? Suspensions are going to go to 0.
Right.
Which means we did it.
Right. Oh, we can fix tardiness too by just simply moving the clock again when the person shows up an hour late. Yeah. And how is that going to serve the kid who's being defiant? How's that going to serve the 11-year-old who's telling the teacher to kiss his balls? How's that going to serve that kid, Gavin Newsom? It will cut down on suspensions. Whoa, you are right about that.
So, Evan, when you were a kid here, was there corporal punishment? Could you be whacked in school?
No, there was a little. That's my dad. There was a little bit of that going on, but
boy, in Texas we
took
did
care of that for him.
Mr. Levine, he had the paddle closet, and you had to go in and you'd pick your paddle. He had like eight or 10 of them hanging in there, and you got to pick either the flat one or the one with the holes in it, or
never the one with the holes in it.
Oh no, that's stupid.
You would never mouth off to a teacher, and if you did, you got suspended. I got suspended. I had when I got suspended, I had a lunch pass because I lived across the street from the school,
right?
And you could get like a go home pass,
off campus pass, right?
And I had my go home lunch pass. And I was like walking out the front door, and there was this security guy who was just sitting on the stool, checking passes.
Right.
And he's like, "Need to see a pass?" And I'm like, "I don't have my pass on me, but I have a pass. Like, I'm registered, like in the office. I can go home for lunch." And he's like, "Not without a pass." And I said, I do have it. I just don't have it on my person, but we can look it up. And I said, "I'm just going to leave and go home and eat." And he's like, "If you leave, you're suspended." And I was like, "Okay," because I'm a horrible student anyway. So I just went home and I ate. And then I came back to school like 28 minutes later. And he's like, "You're suspended." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do," because that was our agreement, even though I had a pass. And he just suspended me. But I was like, that was our agreement. I wanted some Dinty Moore stew made in my microwave.
Well, in 7th grade, 8th grade, I hit a coach with a piece of ice trying to hit a girl, and I got whacked. I'd taken to the office and got paddled for that. Coach did it. Yeah, it was fun.
Define the breakdown of the hierarchy and the defiance of the non-recognizing of authority figures. That's the beginning of the society coming undone. That's where it's all coming undone.
Do kids nowadays fear anybody in their school? They don't. Because I don't know, my girls are grown. They're all women.
No,
graduate from college. I don't know.
Got kids throwing buckets of water on cops. I mean, there's like a 6-year-old who can barely hold the bucket. Like comes up, chuck. Like literally, some adult told the 6-year-old, "Get the bucket and chuck it at the cop." Okay. That kid's going to get shot in a few years by another cop, but all right.
Just kicking the can down the road.
And all the politicians are doing is blaming the teachers and the cops. It's insane.
Who they're in the past very supportive of.
Right. They're all in unions who support them. It's the breakdown of the family. It's the dads being gone. It's no discipline. It's what I've been saying since I've been doing Loveline. It's a shit show. I don't know why no one's interested in that side of the equation of the problem, but no, I've never spoke to a politician who is.
Well, see, I sit there and go, all right, so honey, what do we do? I mean, all these problems, do we move somewhere? No, it's the same everywhere. I've got daughters all over the country, and it's the same everywhere. I have one daughter in Montana, one daughter in Chicago, and it's, so...
You do?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
I didn't know that.
He's a touring comedian now.
They all three of them grew up here. Oh. Yeah, one of them's going to be a doctor of psychology. I'm going to have a Dr. Dunham in the family.
Wow.
One Dr. Dunham. Is it, I don't know.
But here's the point. They grew up here, but they turned out great. I don't.
Well,
I had a small hand in that, so yay.
You can, look, a chicken in every pot and a Batmobile in every garage. If you're living a decent neighborhood.
I did pick up one of them at school once in the Batmobile.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She was mortified.
She wasn't the hero of her school after that?
Yeah, she was, but she hated it. Yeah, she won't let me drive. She lives here now. She won't let me drive anything that's not black, white, gray or silver. She doesn't want me picking her up in it.
If you live in a neighborhood where like the families are intact and the dads hang out and raise the kids and everyone's fine, then the kids are fine, super respectful, well-mannered, fine. If not, it's fucking
it does boil down to that,
show.
doesn't it?
Yeah, that's all it is.
With a handful of exceptions. Yep, I get it.
Yep.
By the way, my Netflix special comes out on the 24th. What is that, Tuesday?
Beside
And you should watch that
himself.
with your whole family.
No.
Oh, okay. Damn it, I was trying to help. Intact family.
Beside himself, yeah.
Let me hit Geico. That is this Tuesday, as you hear this. And then we'll break and do some news. Everyone's got the to-do list. How about you save hundreds of dollars on your car insurance? You don't have to go anywhere. Just go to geico.com. 15 minutes, you could be saving 15% or more on your auto insurance. Take that extra money, put it in your pocket, be the most rewarding thing you do all day. That is Geico. Geico.com. All right, we'll take a quick break. Jeff Dunham's going to hang, and we'll do the news right after this.
All right, Adam. Keelan's running in.
With Grad, news with Gina Grad, breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad, trouble in the Middle East, celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, before we get into it, and there's a lot to get into, I just wanted to announce real quick that it is that time of year again for the Children's Hospital LA to do their Girl Talk program that I MC and sort of spearhead getting their prizes every year. This year, there's 20 girls around ages 10 to 16 years old. They do a really cool self-esteem camp through the Children's Hospital. They've been through a lot in their young lives. I don't care how many times they do this. I get very choked up every time I talk about it. And they need prizes. They do a big graduation. They do a fashion show. I MC it. It's so much fun. And they get to take home bags and bags of goodies because of you every year. So thank you so much. Just follow me on Twitter. It'll be pinned to the top of my tweets. At Gina Grad, GINAGRAD. They need 20 of the same item, headbands, pencils, nail polish, whatever you think young girls would like. And that goes through October 23rd. And thank you so much. All right, horrible transition. Apologize in advance. Pittsburgh Pirates reliever Felipe Vasquez has been arrested for soliciting a child for sexual acts, according to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement.
We're looking at him. He does not look like the type of gentleman that would engage in such behavior.
In fact, it might not be him. Oh, wait, it was. He has
left-handed, Adam. Left-handed.
Oh, yeah. See, lady?
And they
With
caught
your
him.
brother?
Yeah, had lots of identifying tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
Agents from the FDLE and Pennsylvania State Police.
Yeah, people who engage in crime shouldn't have so many tattoos because it's.
Right.
I know it kind of comes with the territory, but it's super identifiable.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they took him into custody on Tuesday morning on one count of computer pornography, solicitation of a child, and one count of providing obscene materials. What were the obscene materials to minors, you ask? Well, the FDLE said its investigation began last month when agents became aware of a sexual relationship, and a 13-year-old female victim who's now 15. The two continued having this relationship over texts, and the child received a video in July from him in which, quote, he is shown performing a sex act. Vasquez also sent texts insinuating that...
How's that work?
He's whacking himself off.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe there was someone else involved. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm always still confused on sodomy because that doesn't mean anal, and then performing a sex act. Hey, I'll take it because I prefer it be known as that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Would have had a much better high school resume.
Performing a sex act
10
several
million
times.
sex acts in my teens.
Twice a day.
Yeah.
So following the arrest, police seized his computers and his electronic devices, and he's going to be extradited to Florida for this.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's weird. The weird part that's always weird about the relationship is the sexual part is gross. But then the part where you're sending forget-me-nots and texts and penny for your thoughts.
Mundane,
That's just weird.
mundane messages.
How
I
is
got my
calculus?
My seventh grade counselor's up my ass. Things are pretty tough.
Girl, I get it.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yuck.
That's probably. Oh, I think they took all of his signage down too in Philadelphia.
Whatever.
I like to participate in conversations, but I got nothing here.
Well, don't make a puppet after this guy. Not funny. And then also, there's always the silver lining to this dark cloud. He was a victim at some point. That's how
Probably.
it works. You gotta somebody put their hands
That's
on
a
you.
thin silver lining,
It's
man.
a thin silver lining.
Yeah.
But yes.
Well, Alex Trebek revealed Tuesday that he needs to undergo a second round of chemotherapy for his pancreatic cancer. The Jeopardy host had a successful round over the summer, was very optimistic, but he says cancer is mysterious, and he's since lost a lot of weight. I think it was 12 pounds in a week, and his numbers are now higher than they were when he was first diagnosed in March.
Hey, back to the quiet dignity part. Although I like the guy, although I don't know the guy, maybe I don't like the guy. I'm just saying I can't go on this yo-yo ride of beating cancer. Now it's back and
Right,
beating
Brian?
it again.
Fucking tell
Yeah,
me.
it's just
Do it or don't.
Play it a little closer to the vest.
Well, I think pancreatic doesn't give you a ton of time.
No, I know, but then I was so excited because
Yeah.
he beat it. Like he
Yeah.
was like the odds are against him, but he's gonna fight it. And then he said,
Yeah,
"Good
it's
news."
worse than ever.
Now it's bad news
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, and it was recent. This all has only been going on since March, too. But he's still hosting, apparently, because it's keeping his spirits up.
Didn't I mean, he sent out a very positive message like a few months ago, going,
Yeah.
kind of. They said we couldn't do it, but we did,
Yeah.
kind of a thing. Like
So you can't imagine that unless you're in that place. What would you do?
Well,
with your public, with your audience, would you be telling everything that happened, or would you just kind of?
probably
He'd be
would.
complaining about the orderlies.
But I do think, like, aren't the doctors, like Brian would know this, like they're probably caution you about being overly optimistic with your family members or your fans or whatever. Like, do not say you beat this until we've made sure it's clear. We can check it in 6 months and we know it's clear, whatever it is.
That's interesting. So, Jeff, I don't know if you know, I have brain cancer, and I was diagnosed 10 years ago.
Oh.
And I to your point, I made the choice very early to be very public with my therapy and treatment and everything, because I for two reasons. One, practically, I didn't want someone to, I got recognized once in a while out in public. I didn't want someone to see me like 6 months down the road and go, Jesus Christ, what happened to Brian? You know what I mean? Like that would have been just, jarring or whatever, to go away for, a few months and then come back and be way, way worse. But also, I couldn't imagine going through that alone. Like, just the outpouring of support from our listeners and our fans who were like, just sending messages of goodwill or, tips or whatever. Like, it's nice to have that community around you. I'm sure Alex Trebek has that times 1,000, you know what I mean?
Right.
So having that goodwill from people you don't even know really buoys you.
But then what if it's another family member? That to me is a completely different thing. Let's say you had a child or somebody going through something. Would you publicly tell everybody?
Well, it's up to the person going through it, I would imagine.
Well,
it's like your 4-year-old.
I have no strong feelings about it. My only input is this. When somebody gets pregnant and they've been trying to get pregnant or they've miscarried or blah, 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 they don't say they're pregnant the day they find out they're pregnant. They go, let's wait, like, to make sure
You're
before
really
we
pregnant.
announce this, before we could have a miscarriage or something like that. I'm just saying that's kind of my thing with I'm in remission or whatever.
Yes.
And I don't know it. I wish him well. I sound like a douche. What I'm saying is I did hear some really positive stuff out of him recently, and I was like, oh, good, he beat it.
To your specific point about remission and beating it and blah blah, people say to me all the time, and it's out of, they want it to be true. They say, oh, you're good after I started getting better. Oh, you're good now. Oh, you're good. You're good.
Right.
It's like, I'll always have a brain tumor. I'll have a brain tumor right now. I'll have it forever. God willing, I'll have it for many, many years, and you'll hear from me for many, many decades. But no, I'm not in the clear, as it were. But yeah, whether or not what you choose to share is up to you.
All right, let me hit Custom Ink, then we'll do our next story. We got our cruise coming up. We can see Brian. He'll make it to the cruise, right, buddy? These super fans are going to be
Good
there.
chance,
You
good
want to get
chance.
some custom shirts? It's kind of fun to see you guys on the cruise with the custom shirts. Go to Custom Ink. Ordering is simple. Website's really easy to use. So many options for products and fast and free shipping. Adding your design is idiot-proof with Custom Ink. You can just upload a logo. They have so many templates in their design lab. Or if design's not your thing, then they have people who'll do it for you. Bring people together. Custom Ink can help. Yeah, show up on the same. We got the shirt. Got the Carolla logo on the front.
Carolla K. That's where we're
got
going.
the Carolla K on the back. And by the way, plaques and pictures and all those forget-me-nots and everything are kind of cool, but a good T-shirt, like from a concert tour from X amount of
It's
years
good
ago,
souvenir.
it commemorates.
We'll see people wearing those old shirts on cruises, in the future.
Says you were there. So they got a special offer, 10% off your next order. For full details, and you can go to customink.com/Adam. That is customink.com/Adam. We'll see you on the cruise, man. All right, what else you got, Gina Grant?
Well, while he's busy rehabbing, Kevin Hart has been hit with a $60 million lawsuit over his 2017 sex tape. Doesn't ring a bell? Well, let me jog your memory. Montia Sabag.
Performing a sex act.
She was the model who appeared in the video.
If it's him beating off alone, I'm going to
Who's he
be
suing?
devastated.
Claims in court documents that she was secretly recorded having sex with him in a Vegas hotel room. She accuses Kevin of conspiring with his friend TJ Jackson to set up a hidden video recording device in the room for the purpose of obtaining tremendous financial benefit for himself by garnering publicity for his irresponsible tour. Kevin has claimed that his friend...
Hold on. He was... Wait a minute.
This is
Yeah.
a few months ago. How long ago?
Like a year and a half.
A year and a half, okay. Yeah.
He was going to...
She thinks...
She
says he was going to gain tremendous financial benefit, basically using it as some sort of promotional tool, like if it leaked or something.
Like Kim's sex tape.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Well, there is...
It'll take him from the number one comedian to the number one comedian.
So Kevin claimed that his friend tried to extort him. He had no knowledge of the recording. TMZ says one of Montia's lawyers recently, quote, made a secret financial demand to Kevin, asking for low six figures. Kevin completely rejected it. Sources say Kevin is adamant about not paying a penny and insists there will be no settlement.
You know, I tell you guys to never get successful, and you always answer can do before I finish saying
already
that.
doing it.
I've been listening.
It's over now. Like, you can't bribe anybody. You buy a hot car, you wrap around a side of a mountain. Everybody sues you.
Gone are the days of secretly recording your trysts in a Vegas
That's
hotel.
right. Paying the chick off, or just paying some
So,
drifter
do you
to
have
kill
any?
her.
Nothing's come out about you, right?
No,
yet.
no,
Not
I get sued by people.
Gina, what else have you used?
Okay,
People attempt to sue me all the time.
I got to tell you mine. So we were doing the biography, did a thing on me, and did biography, and so they did a second one, and we're going through all these old tapes of mine, VHSs from going all the way back to high school and college, and I found this one videotape, and I go, this is perfect, because I'm all you're always afraid that somebody's going to come up with something that you did. Chappelle, his bit on that is fantastic. His latest special.
The Sticks and Stones special,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought, I've always gone, what the hell is going to come out about me? Have I done anything? And I finally found the tape. And this is how sad I am. So most guys, their tapes that are coming out, it's like Kevin is being taped having sex. I have a tape from college. I lived by myself in an apartment. And I set the video camera up. Hidden camera, right?
And fuck the shit out of that puppy.
Yeah, hang on a second. I invite the girl over that I dated, taken her on 2 dates. So she and I are sitting on the couch together. I have my arm around her. And what's the videotape of? I had secretly radio controlled one of the dummies that I had displayed in my apartment. And so the dummies, my control is hidden on the side of the couch, and I'm moving it, so the dummy starts moving all by itself, and she, of course, gets freaked out. Sure. And that's my horrible hidden camera tape from
Traumatized
college.
her.
Yeah.
That's how sad. I had a dummy that I videotaped.
Was that a second? They did a
They did a second one. What they did was, it's really interesting what they've done with the biographies now, because you know that voice of God, the announcer.
I love that
he
show.
Went to, yeah, but that was with the old ones.
Right.
And then he, when in the 5th grade, she decided to be a dancer. So they don't do that anymore. Now they just tell the story with the interviews, and there's no announcer anymore. So apparently, biography, which has been on the air in different forms on different networks, different places since the 70s. Something like that?
A&E?
Yeah, it was A&E. Before that, I think it was CBS, whatever, same show. But they shelved all of those, and now they've redone a bunch of them, and a handful of their successful ones they redid. So I think they redid me, they did Foxworthy, and they also did one other comedian. I can't remember who it was. But then, of course, they're doing all new ones, too.
That's the show. Those are, like, it's kind of like, for me, it's like a UFC fight. Like, if I'm just skimming along and there's a UFC fight, I'll just stop.
Right.
And I'm that way with the biographies. Whoever it is, whatever the line is, whatever the profession is, it just shows that everyone, or scratch that, interesting people have interesting stories. It's never what you just think it was. Oh, his dad was a ventriloquist, so he used to take him on the road, and then he gave him his puppets, and now he's doing it.
Is that not what happened?
It's never that. It's always something super interesting.
Chris Farley was the other one they did. Yeah,
that one was great.
Yeah. And Behind the Music was that way as well.
Oh, I loved it.
That was fascinating.
I loved it. I did. I was in Behind the Music.
You were? For what?
Me and Jimmy Kimmel did a Korn Behind the Music when the band Korn was super popular. We did a send-up on us being in the band Korn, or the forgotten
Members.
foot soldiers of Korn. Like we were original.
You were cut from the band just before
members.
the hit. You're the
Yeah.
best of Korn.
Nice.
Yes. Well, yeah, you can start it from the beginning. So
That's great.
I just love this bit. I want to hear it.
Korn. Their legion of fans know them as hard-edged rock music visionaries. But what they don't know is this seemingly invincible band was nearly torn apart by the two members who helped bring them together. Tonight, Korn, the story beneath the music. Our story begins with Adam Carolla and Jimmy Kimmel, two wide-eyed, idealistic sophomores from Bakersfield High.
Believe it or not, when we were in high school, we didn't get a lot of girls.
It's true. I can't explain it, but we didn't.
No, and there were these guys in school, and they had a band, and we figured if we got in the band, it'd be good for the chicks. They'd flock to us like mice on
tuna.
On tuna, yeah.
The guys in the band, they were huge fans of our music.
I guess they knew we had something special to contribute.
Adam's dad had a van, and we had a lot of equipment to carry. And Jimmy.
Plays a clarinet.
We were pretty high.
But the combination of the band's talent and Adam's dad letting them use his van worked. They started small, high school dances, pep rallies, bar mitzvahs, and eventually grew to concert halls, arenas, and bar mitzvahs. Together, they took the music industry by storm. Rock radio caught on, and soon sold-out concerts turned into massive hit singles, millions of albums, and thousands of adoring fans. But Adam, and especially Jimmy, did not handle success well.
We wrote the song Freak on a Leash one night after Jimmy, well, let's just say he was tripping pretty hard.
Either he was on drugs or ate some spoiled bologna or something. I'm not sure, but he was out of it.
He thought he was a dog.
He was running around the dressing room, biting people, humping
He
legs.
pees on everybody. It's high.
The background music was great. The
klezmer music.
Yeah, what is it called?
Hava Nagila.
Yeah, Hava
The
Nagila.
klezmer music.
Rock and roll. It's a guitar, hard rock version of it. That was great. Hey, let me ask you a question. Speaking of Jimmy, so Crank Yankers is back?
Crank Yankers is back.
Is it you and Jimmy?
Yeah.
Finally, puppets back on top of the world.
I have puppets. I do voices. I love that show.
Maybe you've heard.
Can I would love to help out.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh, we already shot the first few episodes.
Yeah, well, there's going to be more, right?
Oh, I have to get renewed.
It's September 25th at 10:30 on Comedy Central after South Park. If
I have
guys wanna
4
check
of
it out.
the top record-breaking records on Comedy Central. They used to like me over there.
Yeah, you know what?
Adam gets it.
At our next Crank Yankers meeting, I never. You're right. The only guys I'm trying to think of who I wrangled for Crank Yankers, at least in season 1
For this year?
Well, now it's all the Tiffany Haddishes and stuff like that. Like they're getting the young cool kids in there.
Also, there are guests on the show besides you guys.
I mean,
Oh yeah. They got other people. Yeah,
Ostensibly in the future. If the show does well.
Oh yeah, Leno, Bernard, the mechanic who doesn't talk
Really?
very much. Oh yeah, they're all on. A lot of guys who work at that shop are there. Yeah, the guy brought you here today. That guy sitting over there, he's in there. I
He's doing one right now.
remember his name, but he's funnier than you thought.
I used to love that
Yeah, we
show.
just kind of, I don't know. Season 5 or 7 or I don't know how many.
One of the odd number.
One of the odd numbers. Yeah, who's on it this year? Do you know, Max Paddock?
This year, I was looking at for your season 1
okay.
ones first.
It was weird. Crank Anchors was weird because there were people on the show, like, had this weird thing, like Dane Cook, comedian, was on the show before Dane Cook was Dane Cook. And there were comedians that were like, I don't even know this guy's name.
Right.
And then there were other people that were like, your Wanda Sykes and your Sarah Silvermans and
Plus,
that kind of stuff.
You'd have to get the talent to go to Las Vegas. How often are you there? Every,
you'd have to.
They almost
20,
never
25
make
times
it
a year.
out there.
It's just hard to find the talent out there in Vegas.
and again,
willing to make the drive.
And again, you have to have a certain
You gotta pay for a plane
familiarity
ticket
with
and
the
hotel.
puppets and a sort of a comfort level and an experience, you know.
So it wouldn't work out for me.
Not
now.
I'm not saying it wouldn't. I'm
no.
saying it's less of a chance.
Who do we have a lot of folks that have a lot of puppet history this year, right?
Yeah, Sarah Silverman, Tracy Morgan, Kathy Griffin,
all puppets. Yep.
All puppeteers.
Tiffany Haddish, Will Forte.
She's into marionettes.
Nick Kroll, Jimmy O. Yang,
Sure.
Laura Howery, Aubrey Plaza, Abby Jacobson, Dimitri Martin, Bobby Moynihan, Kevin Nealon.
Well, you think puppets, you think Dimitri Martin.
Right.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
you know the
Glazer.
meme of Homer backing into the bushes? That's the one I just sent you guys.
All right, but if we do, what season are we in? Season 5?
What?
Season 5? I don't know.
Oh, we're
did-
just counting this as another
I
season?
guess. We
Well,
took
how
a
long has
little-
it been since it was on the air? Or since it was new?
It started in 2007.
What?
Did?
No.
Oh, sorry. Season 4 ended 2007. This is season 5. They're calling it season 5.
All right. We're in season 5. That's what I know.
All right.
Yeah. Mailbox.
And how many
bitch.
episodes of season 5 are there?
Yes, they're all. Thank God for the Ultranet. We'll find out all this stuff. I'm not a puppeteer, but I was able to do a couple of phone calls this year. Sorry, Jeff. Season 6 for sure. I'm bringing you up at the meeting.
I'll keep practicing.
Definitely keep
working it.
asking.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep yourself on his radar.
Okay.
All right. Sorry. Where were we?
Well, speaking of TV shows, a little bit of TV roundup news. NBC Universal's newly named streaming service, Peacock, is teaming up with Mario Lopez and Elizabeth Berkley for a new Saved by the Bell series.
Oh, boy.
Sources say the streamer is in talks with other cast members like Mark Paul Gosselaar. And listen to this plot. The new straight-to-series comedy explores what happens when California Governor Zach Morris gets into hot water for closing too many low-income schools and proposes the affected students be sent to the highest-performing schools like Bayside High, where they all went. And I'm sure hilarity will ensue from that. Guess what else is getting a reboot? Hogan's Heroes.
Crank Anchors.
Hogan's Heroes. Yeah.
1960s Hogan's Heroes being rebooted.
Doesn't there have to be nostalgia for something for it to come back?
Well, they're totally, I mean, this isn't going to sound like the Hogan's Heroes of yore.
Yeah, they're not doing Nazis.
No.
What is it now?
Well, this one, the reimagined version, will be a single-camera action-adventure
God, are they in
comedy.
Afghanistan or something?
No, set in present day, focusing on the descendants of the original heroes, now scattered around the world,
sure they're all good
who
friends.
team up for a treasure hunt.
Jesus fuck.
What?
There's this weird thing. It's look no further than Land of the Lost or Sigmund and the Sea Monster. They made a movie with Will Ferrell called Land of the Lost. Nobody liked Land of the Lost. Understand TV. When I was a kid, daytime TV was like magazines at a tire rotation center. It's like. Whatever. Any port in a storm.
It was Sig and Marty Cross.
It's like a trade. Have like a trade magazine. It'd just be sitting there, and the guy goes, "It's going to be about 40 minutes," and you're like, "Well, let me learn about balancing and aligning the McPherson strut cars. Like, it was just the magazine that was there. It was essentially in prison. And you'd be surprised like what you'll watch or what you'll read when there's nothing else going on in your life.
That is true.
I've read cereal boxes just because there's nothing else going on, you know? And that's what daytime TV used to be. And Sid and Marty Krofft were colossal hacks, and they made junk, and you just sat there and went, well, I guess this is my punishment in life. I have to watch. It's on. I'm not going to go in my room and read the Hardy Boys. I have to go watch this. And that's what I did. And then they made a movie. And then
because the numbers showed that everyone was watching it.
But what I would say is there is a high recognition level as Saddam Hussein, he's left-handed. The point is this. I say you could take the entire planet and anyone who's ever walked the planet, including people that were born when I began this conversation, and you could put them in one of two camps, and that is all. The people who have never heard of Land of the Lost, and the people who have and fucking hated it. That's all. That's all. Those are the only two groups. Okay, Sid and Marty Krofft. They made it.
They liked it.
Okay, they didn't even like it, but they profited fine. Those are the two groups. Why now must we make a move? It's like saying Ford's bringing back the Pinto. It's like, okay, two groups. Person that's never heard of the Pinto, people that hate the Pinto.
Have been injured in a Pinto.
That's it. That's all there is.
Yeah.
And Hogan's Heroes, there's a little more gray area, but nobody wants to watch it.
There's no appetite.
We're forced to watch it.
Again, I say this many times. I would love to have been in the pitch meeting for Hogan's Heroes.
The new one or the old one?
The old one.
Yeah.
The old, hey, here's something really funny. It's about a concentration camp.
I'm loving it.
to be fair to the producers of the Hogan's Heroes series, it was a prisoner camp. Like it wasn't it was a POW. It wasn't full oven Auschwitz-y kind of thing. Still weird.
It's a subtext. It wasn't Bergen-Belsen, but it wasn't great.
Right, and they would constantly threaten to send Klink to the Russian front. That was the big threat. The general would come in, Klink, you're going to the Russian front, and that was the big joke. All right, let me hit betonline.ag. NFL Weekly Pick'em Charity Contest. NFL College Action is up and running. betonline.ag. You can go there and take advantage of the best bonuses in the business. Use the promo code podcast1, get a 50% sign-up bonus. And they got matchups, man. Lots of good games coming up this weekend. You can get a $500 in rewards, and we'll give it out each week to 5 listeners. And there's a $5,000 season-long charity contest as well. You can check that out. Check it out on Twitter with hashtag Sportsnet Challenge. Brian, what do you got?
I think you and I both went 4 for 5 last weekend. Looking for a 5 for 5 weekend, trying to get everyone, trying to get 5 people $100 each for their Bet Online accounts. How about, I got the Vikings this week, all home teams. Vikings over the Raiders, Patriots over the Jets, Cowboys over the Dolphins, 49ers over the Steelers, and the Seahawks over the Saints.
Oh, the poor Saints.
I know.
There were a couple of easy ones in there.
I just got to get them right.
I'm going to pick.
Damn right they're easy.
I'm going to pick New England, Dallas, Philly, Kansas City, and Green Bay, and I'm going to pick a score in the Jets-New England game. I'll go 33 New England, 10 to the Jets. All right, so you can check out, use the promo code podcast1, get the 50% sign-up bonus at betonline.ag. All right, Gina, let's do one more.
All right. Well, we'll end on a little happy note from a former guest here of the show. Dwayne Dog the Bounty Hunter Chapman was released from the hospital late Monday and is now resting at home in Colorado, according to TMZ. Doctors performed a variety of tests and believe the 66-year-old's medical episode was related to stress and blood pressure, but not a heart attack. He did not have a heart attack. Chapman's confirmed to Us Weekly earlier on Monday that he was under doctor's care and resting comfortably after a little episode that sent him over the hospital.
Can I say this? I like Dwayne, but when I got my hand palm surgery, they needed my underpants. And I was like, I like my underpants, especially when I'm being put under.
Sure.
And they're like, nah, you got to get naked.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, well, first off, they lay out like you're on the cross. I'm like, how far away you guys away from my groin? What can I keep my underpants? And they said it was a fire hazard.
What?
Yeah. I said
That package is hot.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I know. It's like I'll sign the waiver, but they're like,
What do you think I'm packing down there?
no, we need. It's a fire issue. Like, yeah, take the underpants off. Whatever.
amazing.
I don't know. Elastic, static. Who knows? I feel like Dwayne. He needs to shave his head before he goes in and has anything
Yeah.
And a
seriously
procedure.
done. Well, look, you got to put a hairnet
At the
on if
very
you work
least, I
at
was going to
Yeah,
say,
shower
at a
cap.
shower cap.
taco stand or something. Like,
Yeah.
something's got to be done. That's
Yeah.
just too much fire
Flammable.
hazard. There's too much electricity
Yeah.
buzzing around that place.
You're right.
That's just a lot of hair
Yeah.
to be in that setting.
That's a very observant point. Yeah.
I wonder if they put a bag on their heads.
Well, maybe over their hair. I mean,
Oh yeah, not the whole head.
yeah.
You're right.
Did you have the full like hand surgery? Because my mom had exactly what you had done.
Oh,
'Cause She
really?
has the same. Because you have Dupuytren's, right?
No, that's something I have now. Before I just had a ganglion cyst.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
a huge cyst. Now I have. The
My mom was a
Dupuytren.
boxer too.
But did
Boxing
how'd
instructor.
her hand surgery work out?
Great. She gets shots in her hand all the time. She doesn't complain about it. You'd never know about it. She's badass. I would be telling you all the time and never stop.
But she had
crying.
surgery. See,
yeah, she did
I
hand
can't
surgery.
straighten my
Same thing.
my
And
fingers out.
She has like
This is
like
Jeff's worst nightmare.
Oh, it is. You're creeping me out. Like, it's my whole life.
she had like that hardcore like indent. It started concaving.
Yeah.
Like her hand kind of started falling
I
apart.
have
But
that.
she's good now.
I have that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes it harder for me to perform sex acts on myself, with the Dupuytren syndrome,
Jeff, are your hands insured?
No, they're not. I have two, so it'd be a waste of
Yeah.
money. I just, that's when my one terror, because I build things too, and I have power tools, and I build all the dummies, and it's a lot of dangerous stuff, so I'm very, very, very careful and cognizant of that stuff. So, yeah, when I hear about hand surgery, just...
Yeah.
So, thanks for that.
But I love that you do all your puppets, man.
I
think
do
that's
all
really
my
cool.
puppets. I do all my puppets.
Hold on.
I do. Yeah, I do. I build them all, and I love doing it. I'm building one right now. So, yeah, I came here to do this and interrupted the building of the puppet thing.
We'll let
So,
you
thanks for that.
get back to doing the Lord's work of building puppets and buying Batmobiles.
And filming women that don't know when the dummy moves by
That's
itself.
right. Very controversial. So Kevin Hart has a porn film that's out, or it's not out?
This one really flew under the radar.
Yeah. Don't know. That was the first I heard about it.
Chris is taking a safe search off. Hold on.
All right. Let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news. Get off the cross, honey. Somebody needs the wood.
Gina Grad.
That was the news with Gina Grad.
Love your Dolly Parton. And last but not least, Castrol Edge, stronger under pressure. Castrol Edge with fluid titanium transforms under pressure. Keep the metal parts from rubbing and robbing 3 times.
Right.
Stronger than leading full synthetic against viscosity breakdown. It is the best. It's Castrol Edge, formulated in ways to exceed the highest industry standards. Bourbon Barter in Kentucky. That's coming up the 20th through the 22nd. I'll have no cash or credit cards. I'll be bartering with bourbon. I'll be on the Bourbon Trail.
That's awesome.
So if you're in Kentucky, come find me. I need food and lodging and transportation and possible sex acts. I don't know that my hand's holding up. And you can exchange something for some Bullet bourbon and say hi. Lexington, Kentucky, we're going to be at Comedy Off Broadway. That'll be Friday, September 20th. So coming up, this Friday.
That's right. I will be at Palmer's right before that, which is just next door. If you guys want to get a little cocktail with me beforehand.
These drops are going to be a disaster.
They really are.
And I'll be at the Uptown Theater in Napa. That'll be next Friday, the 27th, doing stand-up there. You go to AdamCarolla.com. Also, West Palm Beach, Florida, we'll be doing a live pod there October 3rd before we hit the cruise. So go to AdamCarolla.com for all the live stuff you want. And, of course, Jeff Dunham, Beside Himself, available this Tuesday, September 24th. And check out the website for live dates everywhere.
In Dallas in front of 10,000 people. Yay.
God damn it.
Oh, nothing.
JeffDunham.com is where you go. And until next time, it's Adam Carolla for Jeff Dunham and Gina Grad and Ball Bryan. Say mahalo.
Me.
Stick around. Today's episode of Good Sports with Dave Damashek and Adam Carolla is coming right up.